Please introduce yourself and tell us about the office you're running for.
My name is Robert Neuman, spelled Neuman. I am running for the Republican nomination for the office of Governor of Oregon, though I am also seeking write-in votes from the members of the Democratic Party. Whether or not those votes would actually be counted is a separate question.
Can you tell me more about what you do professionally and if you have any public service background?
So what I do professionally is I do some management. I also have a background in investing. I am previously a member who was elected to an at-large position for the Burnt River Soil and Water Conservation District. I have run for a couple other offices, including Commissioner of Bureau of Labor and Industry 4 years ago, but that ended up being a runoff between Christina Stevenson and Sherry Helt.
Can you tell me more about your biography leading up to your campaign?
Yeah, certainly. I was born in Texas and moved to California when I was younger. Then my mother and we moved to Oregon. When I was in my late teens, I joined the Navy, where I was for 8 years, saw the world, and learned at firsthand experience that most people worldwide are pretty much dissimilar in that they want to feel safe and want a better life for themselves and for their children. And that it's a small percentage who are doing most of the rabble rousing, I guess would be the polite way to say it.
What can you tell me more about your city of Greenhorn?
Greenhorn, to my knowledge, currently has a full-time population of 3, though no one really stays there 100% year-round because the snow does get pretty deep during the winter. In fact, right now myself, I'm actually much closer to Bend as I'm on the campaign trail. So, having a town hall meeting in Greenhorn, Oregon, especially during January, the wildlife that's still there might enjoy my company if I'm putting out food for them, but that's frowned upon by the Forest Service. If you look at a map of Baker County on Oregon, that's the part of Baker County that looks like it belongs in Grant County. Most famously, Greenhorn is known for having its city jail stolen and moved to Canyon City a number of decades ago.
What issues are you hearing Oregonians say that they want the next governor to focus on when they get elected?
One of the larger issues includes the homeless situation. In fact, about a month ago, you had Douglas Muck being interviewed by you, and he stated about a couple who'd been married for 40 years who are now homeless due to medical bills. So what I have listened to people asking me is like, what do we need? And it sounds like what we need is a statewide housing authority. For the most part, housing in authorities, as I was just saying, in Oregon works on a city basis or a county basis. But if a person wants to go from one part of Oregon to another part of Oregon, that can be quite challenging. You have people who do get a housing voucher, but then they have difficulty using it. Maybe they can't find a place to rent locally. But at the same time, you also have those who are renting out houses or apartments and are claiming that they can't find anyone who qualifies to rent. One of the ongoing issues from the 2008 housing crisis is having to have 3 times the amount of rent on take-home pay. So you have people making $100,000 a year, but they're living in their car because nobody will rent to them because they're not making enough to pay the rent within the local area. Or if they do, because they're living out of their car, they can't use a current address because they have no current address. Many people also want the governor or person running to be governor to protect Oregon's vote by mail. And I'm actually very big on protecting Oregon's vote by mail. The reason why is Oregon is actually quite big on allowing everybody who's eligible to vote to be able to vote. And homeless people are allowed to vote. And because so many people are homeless due to situations which are outside of their control, they should be able to vote for who they believe will best meet their interests. And not just only Salem, but at the nationwide level. Also, there is the issue that people who are homeless, even though they would medically meet the ability to donate plasma, can't donate plasma, which then creates health issues for those who need plasma donations because, the FDA won't allow that. So I truly do believe that the U.S. senators and the members of Congress from Oregon should really be asking the FDA to reconsider their position on allowing more people to be able to donate plasma, even if their housing situation or lack thereof, if they're medically qualified, they should be able to donate. Also, there's the issue of access to health care. Sometimes people will have to travel quite some distance to be able to access health care if they have insurance. This also goes to dental care and vision care. A person might have dental and vision care insurance, perhaps through Oregon Health Plan or some other employer plan, but sometimes it can be extremely challenging to use those. Those are my major points that I've been hearing from people.
Who is your favorite Oregon historical figure?
My favorite Oregon historical figure would be Julius Meyer. He was governor of Oregon from 1931 to 1935. That would be Julius Meyer of the Meyer and Frank fame. He ran as an independent in 1930 because the Republican nominee for governor that year became unavailable. And then when the Republican Party of Oregon asked Julius Meyer to meet with them and they told him how they wanted him to run, he simply put, told them to have a nice day, and he chose to run as an independent. And to my knowledge, he is the only independent individual who has ever been elected to governor of Oregon. And he, as I recall, got more votes than both the Republican and Democrat people who were running combined.
What would you say are the primary sources of your personal values?
The primary sources of my personal values come from a combination of what I was taught in school, treating others with respect and being courteous. Also, the core values of the Navy of honor, courage, and commitment, to stand up for what is right, even if it might seem eccentric, because as Bernard Russell once said, do not be concerned about having eccentric viewpoints, to paraphrase, for most viewpoints are considered eccentric when they're first proposed. So having those core values of honor, courage, and commitment, but it also means willing to work for others when they're being held down. As Rosa Parks once stated, I'm tired of being tired. A lot of people are tired of being tired and just want to feel safe. So I use that strength of commitment. Like, okay, people are working full-time jobs and having to have one or two side hustles. And they never get to relax at home with their kids, being able to tell stories with each other and asking how their day was. Just have to rush, wake up, rush to work, then rush to another job, do some door dashing, and then go home and sleep.
All righty, now it's time for my world famous lightning round. First off, ducks or beavers?
Ooh. I would say beavers because from that Ducks game a few years ago in Idaho, ducks don't play nice.
All right. What is your favorite Oregon landmark on the west side of the state?
On the west side of the state, I would have to say, hmm, does Mount Jefferson count as the west side of the state?
It's kind of on the dividing line, right?
Yeah. Ooh, on defense. Well, then I'd have to
That's
say
right.
Mount Hood.
Okay. How about on the east side of the state?
On the east side of the state, I'd have to say the Greenhorn Mountains.
All right. What is your favorite Oregon produced beverage?
Oregon produced beverage. My. They do have some great uh, tap water in the Willamette Valley.
All right. What is your favorite Oregon food?
My favorite Oregon food, the huckleberry.
All right. And what is your favorite restaurant in Oregon?
My favorite restaurant in Oregon. Ooh, that's actually a challenging one because on the one hand, Nancy Joe's does have some great French fries, but McDonald's at the same time does have a wide selection and they usually have quick service.
How can voters connect with you and learn more about your campaign?
Voters can learn more about me as well as my campaign going to Robert Neuman. That's ROBERTNEUMAN.org. There is also a profile of me on Ballotpedia.
Do you have any final thoughts for voters?
I would ask the voters to consider all the candidates carefully. If they believe I'm the best candidate, then I would ask them to vote for me. If they think somebody else is a better candidate, say if they're a Democrat and they truly believe that they can only vote for a Democrat, Brittany Jones would be a great person to ask. For the Democratic Party, she actually has a lot of similar viewpoints that I do. But as for me, I'm here in front of a door for a new future for Oregon. So if people want to elect me, I will gladly serve them. But they should vote for the person that they believe will do the best job. And that actually might be somebody other than me. I'm willing to fully understand that.